And welcome to another great episode of Framing New Heights. My name is Michael Hicks. I am your host with the most. And today, I'm going to talk about Mother's Day. The symbolic meaning for me, how it affected me, how my mother brought me up through my journey. And if you're catching this on the live stream, first and foremost, thank you. Please subscribe. Send it to 5 of your friends and let us know how we're doing. Can't sleep, got the aches and pains. Well, you got to check out this CBD oil, which I've been talking about. It is Amish tested, and guess what? It takes care of the pain and allows you to sleep. And if you act now, if you go to Framing New Heights, actually use the cap locks New Heights, and you put it into envitamins.com, you can get 50% off that cost. And not only that, you just feel better. You sleep better. Sleep is one of the most important things that we can have as we age. If not, we're more highly susceptible to heart attacks and strokes and things of that nature. So get the CBD oil. It's Amish tested. Just if you want, you can go on my bio page, click the description. All the information is in there. But you can get 50% off, which is a great actual deal. Well, I am here today to talk about Mother's Day, and it is officially Mother's Day. I thought I'd record this. I know it's not a scheduled program today. Normally, you'll catch the regular on Wednesday. So it'll drop on all the audios and Spotify's and all of that. So I drop all my new episodes. So if you are a subscriber, you get the live version right away, no matter when it is. So, today is Mother's Day, and how can I say it? It's a symbolic, loving, caring, maybe tough, emotional roller coaster for me. Growing up, now, mind you, let me give you a little bit of understanding here is growing up in the small city of Sheboygan, Wisconsin. For those of you that don't know where that is, it's probably about an hour north of Milwaukee. And, I was fortunate enough to go to a private school, Christian school, Lutheran school, and then on to getting a scholarship to Sheboygan Lutheran, which I was fortunate enough to go then to play college basketball at Concordia University. With all that being said, it is Mother's Day, so I want to talk a little bit about my mom left me. Well, I wouldn't say left me, however, left at an early part of my manhood, a time in which I was finding me, right? And when I say finding me, I was in my 30s. And now, mind you, I'm going to give you a little, there's no script today on where I'm going and how I'm going. I'm just speaking truly from my heart today and how I think mothers really mold us to who we are. And they can obviously have other effects on us as well. So I was brought up, my mother, God rest her soul, she left like at an early age. She was 66 years old. She brought me up, and I never knew my dad. My dad was someone that my mom told me about, that he would come and get me and hang out on some days, and that never happened. So my mom really took the harness, so to speak, and did what she could do with what she knew. And I remember one of the most distinguished memories I remember my mom being outside. We lived we lived at my grandma's house, and my grandma's house we lived upstairs, and then obviously my grandma lived downstairs. So we lived there for many, many years that I remember. And I was young. This is when I was going to St. Paul's Lutheran. So it's probably anywhere from kindergarten to 4th or 5th grade. We have lived there. And I remember my mom grilling outside. In Sheboygan, they call it a fry out, but it's actually grill. For those of you that don't know, there's charcoal and, you grill the food, but we called it a fry out. So my mom's frying out. Why to this day I don't know. Sheboygan's a little backwards, y'all. It's just a little backwards. So we're where my mom's cooking out. I remember this. I must have been 3, maybe 4. I still remember this. Is she would grill and my mom would have a beer, right? And I would take a sip of the beer and I think it would be funny. And I would set it down. And no, I wouldn't take a sip of the beer. Now that I remember this, it's coming back. It's coming back. So I would just grab her beer and I would run to the front yard and think it was just funny. And I did this like multiple times. My mom tell me about this. And I remember it. I literally remember it still. But that's the earliest stages of what I remember with my mom being in my life and not having a father. So imagine being a male, not having a father, and how that disturbed your confidence and um, all kinds of things, right? I think I was a good kid until I got into middle school and made some poor choices. But after that, I think I did a pretty good job. And moms back then really parented the way they only knew how, right? They only knew how to parent a certain way. And today being Mother's Day, I'm sitting here doing all these, the posts on my mom, and I put instrumental music on, and I'm loading up my content as a content creator and posting about my mother. And I get emotional. I get emotional every year. And I'm attempting not to get emotional right now. Is I just think of her hug, right? And how much hugs meant. Like you could have the as I'm looking at the screen right now, you can start to see my eyes well up here. As you could have the most worst day ever, right? And I always say now, being a mindset coach, is you never have a bad day. You have a bad moment. However, back then I didn't know any better. So stick with me here on this. And many of us don't understand how to beat that logic. That's why I come into play with my Live to Thrive formula. If you are truly struggling with purpose, direction, love, career, relationships, I've got the ultimate program that I've been helping over thousands of people daily, or not daily, but in the time frame I've built my agency, Live to Thrive. It's a life coaching business. And what I've done is I really given the opportunity to rebuild and rebrand, I like to call, people's legacy. And I've been doing this now for over 2 years, and my business has just skyrocketed. I've worked with people from across the United States into Canada, even into Europe. And now I work with an agency, my agency called Live to Thrive. And what it does, it truly brands you to get rid of that old thinking, the new thinking, right? The way to wake up happy, joyful, excited about the next day and being full of blessings. And I teach you how to reprogram that. Maybe you're struggling in your relationship. Maybe you're just not a good parent to your kid. Allow me to help you become the best version of yourself. If you want more information on this, you can simply go to my bio page on Instagram, or you can click on this link when we're finished, and you can sign up at www.livetothrive.com, or you can go to my email, which is michael@livetothrive.com. That's LIV, the number 2, and then thrive.com. We can just get on a journey call that is absolutely free. Just mention it on that you heard it on Framing New Heights, and you will get a free journey call. So going back to where I was, so getting emotional from writing these posts, and my mom did the best that she could and what she had and what she knew. She was the old school mom, though, right? Man, she was athletic, smoked consistently, right? All the time, smoked cigarettes. I hated it growing up. I hated it. My mom and my grandma would just literally smoke cigarettes, and it was one of the grossest things I think I've experienced during the course of my life. I think that's why I'm so into health, and I'll get to the reason why my mom died. But one of the main reasons I'm so into health is because of how the life that my mom lived. And I get emotional because there's never can be a bad day when moms are around. I remember coming home. So we had the opportunity to, your school is done. You're a senior in high school. Now you're looking for a summer job. So I found a summer job, and it was this job. This job was insane, y'all. So it was a landscaping kind of business, but I constructed silos and farm buildings and stuff like that. And what's so insane is I remember working 6 a.m. and coming home at 6 p.m. So 12-hour days. And it was the hardest as a 18-year-old boy at that time. Some may want to think that you're men. I don't think you're men for a long time. I think you're a man. You truly become a man when you lose your mother. I remember coming home and I open up the door. My mom comes to the door and she looks at me and she goes, "Oh, honey, I love you." She's like, "You don't have to go back tomorrow." And then she gave me this embraced hug, right? You know, the mom hugs where you're like, wow. And I was just like, thank you. You know, when you have a mother that can reassure you and fill you up, and not only fill you up, but somehow just make things better. Do you know what I mean? That is something that I don't know if everybody gets. And, I'm not saying my mom was perfect in the process of raising me. My goodness. I remember I must have been 8 years old, and my mom liked to party. Like she was a young mom and no dad, and she just liked to party. And party I meant by she'd invite another man over and they'd smoke marijuana and drink beer so all hours of the night. But I was super excited because it was my birthday the day before. I got a cool big wheel. And at that time it was a big wheel that didn't have the steering wheel. It was an Incredible Hulk big wheel. So you would just move these levers, and that's how you can go super fast, and you would like turn it and it would like spin. It was really, really cool. So I was like, I got to get up early. I was up early fixing it. I just wanted to fix it because I wanted to get on it and get outside. Well, my mom was still hungover from partying and being up all night. And I remember getting the shit knocked out of me. Literally one of those bad spankings. And I talked about this on my other podcast episodes. So moms back then brought us up on what they knew and how they knew us. And we learn now as we fast forward what worked, what didn't work. And yet we're still figuring it out, right? As parents, we're still figuring it out. But bringing it back, mothers are a key foundation to our society, to our childhood, to our adulthood. And without having a mom, I'm curious on any of my listeners out there, how many of you maybe lost your mom at an early age and you just had dad, or you're with grandma and grandpa? Like, I want to know. I would love to have you on a podcast to kind of explore how that went. Because mine was the other way. I didn't have a father. So I learned through some nasty stuff. But moms, man, I can remember distinctively my mom, she was athletic. Man, she was athletic. And that's why I was so blessed to be athletic, I guess. But we'd literally play baseball, and she would catch and she'd throw the ball hard. And I could throw the ball as hard as I wanted at her, and she'd still catch it. But I was always a mama's boy. I was always a mama's boy. I remember up until probably high school, at the end of the night, we would always watch TV. In fact, I remember this. I remember summer nights. This was so cool. Being upstairs at my mom's or at my grandma's house, is being upstairs so they had this nice porch balcony in the back. And my mom would wheel the TV out, And we would watch Wizard of Oz outside. That was really cool. Popcorn, maybe soda at the time because we didn't know any better, and really just watched Wizard of Oz. And then you have these memories of mom, and I remember also a real beautiful Easter day. We go to church, and that was one thing my mom always did. God rest her soul, is she would always take me to church. Didn't matter what we were doing, but Saturday night service was when we always went to church. And I remember just like, why, gosh, and I had to sit a certain way. But mom would bring you to church, and we'd listen to the sermon and go home. But I remember, I go back. I think that's why my faith is because of her. And that's unreal, because that's a gift that I don't know if she'll ever realize that she gave to me. And I get emotional talking about it, because for those of you, and this is not a plug by any means biblically, but I'm a born again Christian. I was a Christian for a long time, but I wasn't really born again. And being born again and having a relationship with Jesus Christ, it got me out of some really dark, scary moments. And I'm in the process of writing my book, and I'll get more into details on all of those things. However, I want to thank mom for that. Mom had the greatest hugs, right? Mom has the greatest hugs. Mom supplied me with the gift of church, even though I didn't know I was gonna need it. Right? We're just like immortal at an early age, and even when we're young adults, we think we can do anything and everything. And then not only that, I had the best toys growing up, right? Like literally the best G.I. Joe, the best He-Man, the best video games, whatever it was. And now, mind you, my mom, we were on welfare. And then she eventually married my stepdad. That was a whole new different situation. A lot of physical violence, a lot of being in bars. However, my point to all that is, not having much, she supplied a lot. And I look back and I'm like, man, I had the best clothes. In fact, I would go to school, and the report card, or my teacher at the time, was in second grade, the teacher would tell my mom that I was always so well dressed. Just well dressed. I don't know if you can do that in today's age. Like, would you even make that comment? But always so well dressed. And that's because my mom just knew how to take care of me. And maybe that's why I get so emotional on these days. The two biggest days and I wrote about this on my socials today. The two biggest days that are hardest for me is Christmas Eve and Mother's Day. Christmas Eve is tough, especially when I don't have my little one. And she's not little anymore. She's gonna be 11 in October. However, I miss mom. I miss her. I miss her love. I miss her hugs. I miss her smell, right? Moms always had a smell. They just had a smell about them. You know what I'm talking about. For those of you that are listening to this podcast, you're like, I know. They just have the smell. That's a good smell. It's a great smell. Today has no script, no notes. It's just me speaking from my heart today and my experience of Mother's Day, and what moms really did to me, what my mom did to me. And where, and then I reflect. I often get I was at a condo for 10 years. And then I was at a small cottage home for about 10 years, all kind of in the same area. And this cardinal will always show up in spring, and it would have this tune. You know what I mean? Like these cardinals have these tunes. And I always think about, oh, that's my mom visiting. And then I came to my new house here and I was like, I wonder if I'll ever hear mom again. And she comes and visits. She does. I remember I was it was like my first year or second year teaching. I got my degree later in life because I had the aspiration of modeling, and I did that for like 8 years, probably longer than that, probably 10 years. And I'll write a book entirely on that. I got to travel the world. Very, very seldom at home. However, back on track. I remember going. I'm going to tell you, I got a call, and I'll never forget this call. It happened twice. I got a call when I was working at school. I was like, I got to go. My mom's in the hospital. I had no idea why, but I just left. And I drove there, and this was during the day, and mom seemed coherent, but she was in the hospital. And now, mind you, I want to give you a little perspective. I had a little bit of falling out with my mom towards the end of her life. I think my mom had some disorders, maybe bipolar. She had the mentality of everybody was against her and everything was so negative, and maybe that's the reason why I do my Live to Thrive agency and the positive mindset, right? I don't know, maybe. And I get there and she seems okay until I notice she gets up to go to the bathroom. And this was after I got her a Reese's, or I got a Butterfinger. Remember those? Remember those candy bars? Who eats candy bars? Do you guys eat candy bars? I don't eat candy bars. However, I got one for my mom that day because that was one of her favorite candy bars. So I got it for her. She ate it. We talked. I was there for a while. I was there till 9 o'clock at night. So mind you, from 3, 4 o'clock till 9 o'clock at night. She gets up after she eats it, and she has an accident. She literally has a ball accident on the floor. I didn't know what to expect, but as I reflect and I look back, that was the sign of my mom coming to a time in her life where it was gonna end. So she comes back. I talk to the doctors, and we've been there a while. And I asked the doctors, I go, how is she doing? Is she okay? Can I go home quick? And kind of, yeah, you can go home. You go home. Okay. All right. She should be good. She's good. She's stable. She's in good condition. I get home. Probably within 45 minutes, I get a call. I get a call from the hospital as you need to get here as soon as possible. Now, it's about a 45-minute drive from where I'm at to the hospital. I don't even remember the drive. I'm just driving. And as I'm driving, I get there, and I don't even remember getting in or checking in. I walk into a room of 9 people, all working on my mom. I stand there and I take that in as a 36-year-old man at that time. I didn't get mom very long. Could I have done things differently? Yeah. So I stand in there and I watch. And the doctor's like, should we keep going? I was like, yes, don't stop. This goes on for another 45 minutes. They're, Michael, we're not getting anything. Nothing's changing. I'm going to attempt not to get emotional now. I said, okay. I think I heard something. I think I heard God or somebody talk to me. Somebody said something. It's okay. So they stopped. Now, mind you, my mom has been passed away for almost 20 years. 16 years to be exact. Give or take. And I got to just say this really quick before I get to that finishing point here. Make sure you listen because I'm going to get to it because it's something profound and amazing. I had a really good friend. And we're no longer friends anymore, but it's interesting how we have friends during seasons. I think we're friends, but we're not as deep as we were at that point. But I remember he drove all the way from Milwaukee to be there with me during this process. I was very lucky. Or I wouldn't say lucky. I was very blessed. I don't like to use the word lucky. So shout out to you, Rich. I'll never forget that, man. That was pretty impactful and pretty thankful for that. I'll never, ever forget that. So fast forward now, after they finish and I told them to stop because they needed me to say the words. I'm standing there in the doorway looking at my mom. And I distinctively hear her voice 3 times. Michael, I'm okay. Michael, I'm okay. Michael, I'm okay. 3 of the most powerful words I ever heard. And for those of you that are really struggling with faith, I knew at that moment my mom was with my creator in heaven or in the process of going. As the funeral happened, and I don't remember this story too well because it was a lot, but just kind of goes back to the faith piece. One of the ladies that was at the funeral said, "Hey, was your mom's favorite color red?" And I was like, how did you know that? She told me. Now, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a guru on this kind of stuff. Maybe we can have a conversation with somebody on a podcast. I'd love to have you if you know any guests that I can bring on to talk about that. However, that stuff's real. And for those of you that are in different seasons with your mother, know that you only get one mom. That's all you get. Good, bad, indifferent. Don't blame them. Don't ever blame them for who they brought you to be. In fact, I hope that as my mom looks down, she's proud of me. She's proud of the father that I am. She's proud of the business I have. She's proud of the person that I've become. Because there are no better words or more powerful words that you can say to your child is, I'm proud of you, son. I'm proud of you. Those 3 words are powerful. They build confidence. They build resilience. And I don't know your relationship with your mom. I shared a little bit on today's podcast about that, about who my mom was. My mom was a God-fearing man. Or God-fearing man. My mother was a God-fearing mother. I'm a God-fearing man. And life as we know it, I know when things are taken, people are taken. And for me, I thought that was too early. But God has a plan. He has a direction. He has a way of doing things. He loves us. He supports us. And do I miss my mom on these days? Yes, I miss her so much. Just like one more hug, right? Just give me one more hug, Mom. I got to go. If you had the opportunity, would you just like talk back to your mom again? Like have a conversation? I'm just talking for those of you that don't have mothers on Mother's Day here. Or just be like, no, let it go. So you all have somebody in your life, and I hope that and this will drop later than Mother's Day, but those of you that are subscribers are catching the live. Even if when you hear this episode, thank a mother. Thank them for everything that they've done. They are powerful. They are the glue to so many things. They brought up kids in a particular way, and just maybe ask for a hug if you can get one. And just thank them. Maybe it's your own mom. Mom, thank you. They're gonna be like, for what? Just because you're a mom? Because you're my mom? I love you. You know, my girlfriend, she's obviously a mother. She's got 2 kids. And she's always like, Mother's Day is just like that holiday. No, it should never be a holiday. It should be a holiday of love, joy, compassion, and surprise them. Maybe if it's not this Mother's Day, surprise them. Take them and let them do something they want to do. So, Mom, wherever you are, I hope you're proud of me. I hope you see who I've become. And I know one day I'll be with you again. And I cannot. So this day on Mother's Day, if you don't have your mother, reflect. Think of the positives. Think of the smell. Think of the hug. And if you do, be diligent. Spend time. Love them. Call them. Spend time. You get one mom. And then when they're gone, you regret things. You look back. Until next time, everybody, my name is Michael Hicks. Today's podcast was really about my own mother. The things that she gave me to become who I am today. The fire, the attitude, the passion, the kindness, the love. Find a mother. Thank a mother. And if you have your own mother, love your mother even harder. Until next time, my name is Michael Hicks. Make sure to send this podcast to 5 of your friends. Please subscribe or even hit the bell. And that way you are notified when I go live. Until next time, always 1% better in mind, body, and soul. Stay flexed.